Hey, what's up, everybody? This episode of the Going Yard podcast is powered by our sponsor, Baseball Lifestyle 101, where it's not just a game, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, you can find the hottest shirts, hats, shoes, and jewelry for that baseball player in your life, or even the baseball coach. I mean, they have some great apparel. You won't find anything better on the internet.
Absolutely. And you can also save 10% off by going to BL101.com and entering GYP10 at checkout. And you'll get 10% off of your entire purchase at checkout. Again, that's BL101.com with promo code GYP10 at checkout.
Man, that's fantastic savings. Dan, in this episode, we get to talk to Cameron Bennett, the baseball bro.
Yeah, we've been wanting to talk to him for quite some time. This was actually recorded a couple weeks ago, so we had some talking here about Machado and Harper, and I don't even think we knew where Machado was at that time.
Nah, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Actually, we were just talking, going around baseball, and his team, the Dodgers, and all that goes into their season and the last couple World Series runs they've had.
Yeah, and I think you guys are going to enjoy this. It's a funny episode. This guy's got a great sense of humor, great ball player, and so much to check out and for you guys to enjoy online.
And what a great trip he talks about after he graduated college. I think you'll find that very, very interesting, what he went and did. So check that out, and, you can let us know what your favorite place to go to would be.
Yeah, and he actually gave us some tips, too, if we ever decide we want to go and do it, which I really want to do it. When we decide. But it's awesome. Check out this episode with Cam Bennett, Baseball Bro. Enjoy. Hey, Cam, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's an honor, a privilege to be on the legendary Going Yard podcast.
I don't know
to be here.
I don't know if it's legendary, but we appreciate the shout out there.
Yeah,
honestly.
we've been trying to make this happen. I know. I think it was back in the summer. I think we initiated it, and we were going to get you on, and then things just happened, and we finally got you on. So thanks for.
It was back in the summer during the season. I was looking for people for my little show back in the day, and I wanted to get you guys. And then I was like, wait, why don't I go on their podcast too? And I think what happened was we just we didn't really have like the scheduling thing quite down, and it was just kind of like, okay, we'll do it later. But now we booked it. It's happening, and I'm excited about it.
It's going down. The world is ready. The world is prepared for this
The
moment.
world is ready. Exactly.
If you can, Cam, can you talk our listeners through your baseball story a little bit? Where you started out at, your high school recruiting process to college, and how that went for you?
Yeah, sure. Well, I grew up in the South Bay area in Los Angeles, California. It's a small beach town, and even though you could play baseball like year round, a lot of people, enjoyed the beach and enjoyed surfing and all that stuff. So it wasn't really like a big baseball town. However, being in California, the competition is just going to be incredible out here anyway. So I grew up playing baseball as my main sport, went to Redondo Union High School, and me being a short guy, I didn't really have the advantages that other players had. I had to work harder than everyone else. I had to put on the weight, get in the weight room, really get the most out of my swing to maximize that power, because how the game is evolving into this like power speed combo that scouts are looking for. And I knew if I had any shot at college baseball or even the pros, I'd have to do both those things, have speed and power. So after high school, I didn't really get there. I honestly hit, I think, like 250 in high school, 260. But the one thing I had was speed. So coming out of high school, I was trying to find a college that would give me a shot that was going to be fun to play with and also have good competition that could possibly get me recognized. I didn't want to go to a school where like no scouts are going to show up, or like the baseball team just was garbage or whatever. But then again, like given my high school playing days, I really wasn't going to see myself playing on like UCLA or starting for like one of the powerhouse D1 schools. So after scouring the, I guess the field, I found Azusa Pacific University. They let me walk on, and I redshirted my freshman year, which is kind of like, for me, one of the best decisions I ever made, because honestly, I came in 5'8", 145, like soaking wet, just like a little rat, hanging out with like monsters. And to fill you in on Azusa Pacific University, it's a small Christian school located in Southern California. They only draft physical guys. Like, they only bring in physical guys. And me being a short, scrawny dude, I really had some catching up to do if I wanted to play there. But I knew that if I could do that, I could definitely do anything, you know? Spent 5 years there because I redshirted my freshman year. After my freshman year got really big, started competing for spots. It wasn't until my redshirt sophomore year that I actually got some consistent playing time. However, I went down actually with a really bad fever halfway through the year that put me out for a week, and it was like 105. I passed out, like going to the bathroom, cracked my tooth, like got a black eye. It was intense. And that kind of just threw me off the entire season, because like I like instantly became out of shape and lost my spot, had a fight to get back in the lineup, just couldn't find it. So it wasn't until my junior year, my redshirt junior year, that I actually played every single game, broke out. I think I hit like 300, 2 home runs, hit my first career college home run, and like 10, 12 stolen bases. But my redshirt senior year was my best year. Hit 330 with 3 jacks, 35 stolen bases. That was the 5th most in D2 baseball. 6 triples, which was an Azusa school record. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are all the braggables.
Put the speed to work, man. Put the speed to work then. Woo!
Yeah, dude. You know, I'm just showing off them legs.
When you're 5'8", we got to use what we got.
I know, bro.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
If I'm small, I got to be fast. You know, at least I got that going for me. After college, I kind of transitioned into this phase of my life because I didn't get selected in the draft, and I didn't really. I mean, I probably could have played independent ball, if I'm being honest with myself. But I feel like if I wasn't going to get drafted, then I'm just going to move on into film, because that was my major. I think that's my long-term passion, and that's just kind of like what I wanted to do as like my career outside of baseball. So right after the season ended, I planned actually like rewind a year like ago. I told myself if I didn't get drafted, I was going to go on a nationwide road trip to every big league stadium in the country. So didn't get drafted. Plan is in work. I got everything mapped out. I got like my car I was going to take, all of like the cities that I was going to hit, all the home games are planned out so that I could see every single team play. And 82 days later, saw all 30 stadiums. So,
which one's your favorite?
Man, biasly, Dodger Stadium.
Right.
But Pittsburgh, their PNC Park over there is gorgeous. Petco Park is beautiful down there in San Diego. They're spoiled down there.
What'd you think of Camden Yards?
Camden Yards was good. I'm not gonna lie. Camden Yards was nice. The only thing that was missing for me was there's no fans. Like maybe a handful of people like in each section.
And Tyler was probably one of them.
I was probably one of them. Probably.
Yeah.
Pretty sad.
Which is sad, but it's mean. Tyler, look.
Who wants to watch Chris
Oriole
Davis?
Fans are freaking. I have so much respect for those guys. You know.
Yeah.
Because through the thick and the thin, man, you guys will remain loyal to the team, and I love it.
We got no choice, man. We got to be Yankee killers. Got to be Red Sox killers. Got to, I'll tell you, our ballpark is probably the most visited ballpark by outside fans. One, because the prices are so good, but the convenience of getting to it from some of the big cities, that play in the division. So it's always an interesting dynamic. I mean, I've been at Camden Yards when they were so bad that the stands were cheering "Let's go Mets" in an interleague game. So,
I believe I was at the same one.
The Yankee fans pile in. I'll tell you, I've always been amazed with how many Oakland A's fans show up to a Orioles game. It's crazy the amount of Oakland A's
and
fans.
Royals fans out of all teams.
Yes,
yeah.
It's crazy.
Really?
It's crazy.
Is it recently with the Royals because they won that World Series?
It picked up big time. Big time.
There's probably a lot of bandwagon Royals fans, but who knows?
But no, I'm telling you, the A's, because
you can see those Royals fans coming out from under the rock when they won the World Series. Like, is it time yet?
Yeah.
Have they won? Are they good?
It was so funny
because basking in the sunlight.
I was there for the playoff game for game, I guess, because the Royals had home field advantage. It was game 3. I was there. And there was more Royal fans than I had ever seen in my life. I was like, what the hell did you come from? I mean, like, there ain't no way. You just bought that jersey. Look how clean it is. You just took the tags off it, I think. So there wasn't no Red Saberhagen jerseys coming out, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But, it's a great stadium to take a game in. Me and Dan went and visited the one in Philly, and we went up to see the Mets Stadium this summer. So we're going to start making our trek around a little bit as well. So that's a cool story.
That's pretty wild. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No worries. Yeah. So I did that trip and I filmed the whole thing. So it's pretty much kind of like my transition into like the film life. I thought I was going to film the whole thing, make a sick vlog on YouTube, maybe compile it into a cool documentary and stuff, and then get film jobs right away. Yeah, and it's all on YouTube. If you want to watch it, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of rough because it's like literally like 4-hour turnarounds. I edited everything on the road. It was like the first time I really handled a camera forever because when I was in college, I'd only do editing stuff. So because like of baseball, I couldn't be on set because I was playing baseball. So I would just be in the edit bay all night after practice or whatever, editing movies. So like the editing's cool. It's just the camera work is kind of rough. But yeah, if you want to see a man take a trip on all 30 stadiums and you have like 4 hours to kill, pop on to the vlogs.
That's awesome.
But I'll give you this for advice because it sounds like you guys are trying to make it to all of them.
Mm-hmm. I
would do it in chunks. What I would do if I were you guys is I would take like week area, like go to SoCal and for a week go to every stadium there, and then like the second week what you do is you experience kind of like the lifestyle, because I think that's the coolest thing about the trip. It wasn't really seeing the stadiums, even though that was amazing, and like I won't lie, like as a baseball fan, I would love to do that like again, to go see all the stadiums again. But it was also experiencing like the fans of the teams, the fans of the stadium, the lifestyle of the city, the foods of the city, the trademark things, like all the cheesy tourist stuff and like the legit things. I stayed in Airbnbs, and it was one of the best decisions of my life. Because if I stayed in hotels, like I would get the concierge recommendation. But if I stayed in the Airbnbs, I got like the person who lives there,
right,
and all their wisdom and what they recommend, and like you have to eat here, or you have to go here, or this is what must see, or that's overrated, it's a tourist trap.
Right.
And then like you kind of got like the whole insight.
That's a good plan right there with Airbnbs. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I have just to take you back to your college career just real quick. I just have, because there's a lot of guys that listen to this and they're kind of moving towards with that mindset of like, man, I got to make a D1 school. I got to make a roster on the D1 school. Can you talk about the power of playing at a Division II or even Division III, for people so that people don't discount that and say like, hey, if I don't make D1, I'm not going to play at all. Can you talk about the power of playing Division II and what that did for you?
Yeah, of course. I'll tell you this much. I had D1 friends at other schools, and a lot of D1 friends would come visit and see my team play, Azusa, and they're like, you probably beat our team. So, like, a D1 competition level compared to a D2, the difference really is that every pitcher can throw 90 in D1, and in D2, only like one or two can, like in your rotation. Like the four that you're going to face on the weekend, one or two in a D2 will throw 90, and then in a D1, all of them throw 90. And then you may have a guy that throws like 95 or something. But really, the spectrum of competition level is very, very small. Like a lot of D1 bounce backs I saw come through our program struggled in D2 too, because it's not even that much different. What I would say about people who are getting discouraged about not going to D1 and going to D2, it really isn't about like what division you want to go to or whatever, but it's more about like what's going to give you the best opportunity to develop as a player and play. Because like honestly, we have every single year at least 3 people getting drafted from Azusa. Every single year I was there, we had someone get drafted. Multiple times when I was there, we had 3 people get drafted. Sometimes we get 2, but like people get drafted from Division II. And I think the biggest thing that everyone gets scared of when they want to go Division I, opposed to Division II, is like, I want to have a future in MLB. I won't get one if I'm playing Division II. That might be the case if you're playing basketball or football, but there's 40 rounds in the draft, and literally talent could come from anywhere. You look at Kevin Pillar. He played at Cal State Dominguez Hills. That's a team that we play in Azusa, and he's making millions on the Toronto Blue Jays. That's like my go-to example of what you can do as a Division II ball player. But yeah, Kevin Pillar, I actually met him, like no flex, but whatever. And he's not really that much bigger than me, honestly. Like he's taller than me, but like he just put in the work. He had the mentality, and he's told himself, like, I'm going to be in the bigs, and no one's going to stop me other than me. And I think it doesn't matter if you go to a D1, D2, D3, whatever, NAIA, if you have the mentality, no matter where you go, you're going to be successful. That's what I think. Let
me jump in here real quick, because I want to ask you about this. And you talk about being successful. And you knew the player you wanted to become, and you knew what you had to do to become that player. But how important do you think redshirting was in that development process, in actually getting the success that you ultimately wanted? Do you think that would have happened if you didn't redshirt your freshman year?
Yeah, that's good. I feel like I wouldn't have. I would have missed that last season of my college career, that redshirt senior season when I hit 330, if I would have not redshirt. And honestly, it was like maybe get 2-3 pinch running opportunities and a pinch hit. And that is what would have happened if I wouldn't have redshirted. What redshirting does, and a lot of people hate it because they're like, I want to play now. And like, I don't get it. If I just get in the lineup, I'll be so much better than the starter right now. And sometimes it's the hardest to sit back and recognize that you're not ready to play right now. And if you think you are ready and you're not, then you're going to regret it later, because you only have so much time in college to play. There's a time limit, 4 years and you're done. You can't play more than, 8 semesters. Is that what it is? I think. I don't know. NCAA is kind of cuckoo when it comes to that. But I wasn't ready to play back when I was a freshman. So having that time when everyone was like out on a road trip, when I was at home, I was at school, and I was like just getting huge, bulking up. I didn't have to worry about burning all these calories because I was in baseball shape, but I was just getting massive, like keeping my strength, keeping my speed and stuff like that. it really put me to become the collegiate athlete that I don't think I would have become if I was trying to like play through me not being ready to, playing college and stuff. If that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was a little jumble of words.
No, it makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Just to wrap up college here, what was the biggest lesson you learned playing college baseball?
Biggest lesson. Man. Biggest lesson would be just don't sweat the small stuff. Baseball is a game of failure, and it's like a game for the insane man, because why would you play something and you have a 30% success rate and be cool with that? Like, I'm pissed off if I don't get a hit every single time I'm up to plate, but I still step back up to the plate, even though I have a 30% chance of me getting a hit that time, and I'm all right with the 30% chance, Mm-hmm. I think the biggest thing was, like, when I went into slumps, I turned it into self-destructive, like, tendencies. And, slumps are meant to be broken, just like hot streaks are meant to be broken. So it's really about keeping that level head, knowing every time you get out, man, I'm just due for the next one. Oh, I'm going to hit a home run next time, because, like, the odds are in my favor now. And just kind of like having that kind of short-term memory, but also like storing it for when it's practice time, and knowing what you need to work on to get yourself better for the next game or for the next opportunity.
So if you can for us here, because we all have one or maybe a couple, who were a couple players you looked up to that you wanted to emulate their game when you got on the field? You were taking batting practice. Who were you trying to be when you were, playing defense? Who did you want to be? Who was that player or a couple players that you really looked up to?
Yeah. I love the short guys. Dustin Pedroia was one of them. David Wright wasn't really a short guy, but he kind of had like the mentality that I had, just the competitor, the spirit that he had over there at third. Who do I really look up to though? I mean, I love Sean Green. I've always been a Dodger fan. That was kind of my player when I was growing up. Because I just think like when I was a kid, I always hoped that I'd just be just a tall, powerful like hitter when I grew up. And then when I grew up, I realized that's not going to happen. I'm staying at this height. So Dustin Pedroia and like the short guys like Jose Altuve would be someone. Mookie Betts are like players that like if I was playing in this day and age, I would try to mimic their game to a T, because I feel like they do it the right way.
What about Bregman? You got to love that guy. He's not overly big.
That's true. Yeah, Bregman. That's another guy I met. No flex, whatever. He's like my height too. A little bit taller than me, a little bit wider than me, but that's because he's an MLB player. His swing is very, very good for an MLB player. Like, it's short, compact, and he puts barrels on balls. It's like Bregman and Mookie Betts are two guys that if I were playing right now, I would absolutely obsess over, because doesn't matter if you're big, small, whatever size you are, those guys know how to get the absolute most out of their body weight, swing, and everything. And I mean,
and they were
Aaron Judge would be one too that does a good job with that, but like I'd go towards the smaller guys. I think they do it better.
Yeah, with Betts and with Bregman, those were the two guys. They were the most exciting guys to watch all season long, especially towards the end of the year. Just start cranking it up. So that was definitely good guys to emulate. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe that's like a little bit of like a safeguard answer, because they're like the two front runners for MVP. But I mean, I don't know. It's just crazy. I mean, I heard from a scout that Mookie Betts, before he was like MVP, before he was kind of big time, he would say he never saw anyone barrel up more balls than he did. I think he just has a natural gift of barreling balls, but it just goes to show that like the dude's the dude looks like he's in the World Series interview. I don't know if you guys saw it in the World Series interview. He looked like a skinny, like starving child a little bit. Like I was like, how are you hitting home runs, man? What are you doing? You know, like
right.
I think there was a funny meme that popped up. David Ortiz, Big Poppy, was interviewing him, and I think, or it was A-Rod, I don't know, one of those two was interviewing him, and it kind of looked like he was like scolding him by the way that Mookie Betts was like carrying himself, and it's really funny because it looked like a father scolding his child, but yeah, man, like that's the best thing you could do as a player right now is emulate the ones that do it the best.
Yeah, and they just have fun. Yeah. You can just tell they're having fun. But speaking of having fun, I mean, you went to school for cinematic arts, and it's obvious that you started using your craft immediately when you were talking about doing the stadium tour. You also started a show called Bros Talk, and you had that out for a little while. Can you talk about what got you started in doing that and what you guys were putting out weekly?
Yeah, sure. So right after the stadium tour thing, the off-season hit. Tried doing like the film life. Wasn't really going well because I was just missing baseball like crazy. So the baseball season comes back around circa 2018, and me and my brother were living out together at the time. And I was like, we're sharing a room. And one night before we were going to bed, I was like, yo, Chase, you want to start like a baseball show? And he was like, sure. So boom, birth of Bros Talk Baseball. We recorded our first episode. It was a predictions video on YouTube, and it got over like 1,200 views. I was like, oh my gosh, we had at the time like 70 subscribers. I was like, dang, dude, is this how you get famous on YouTube? You just predict baseball stuff? And even then, it's like not really famous on YouTube, 12,000 views. But that was big for us. So we were just like, dude, we should continue doing this. Like, what should we call it? And he's like, what about, we're just a couple brothers talking baseball. And I was like, why not just Bros Talk Baseball? Boom, birth of Bros Talk Baseball. So what we've done was we just like every week give fantasy baseball advice, talk about trending topics, bring people from other like spheres of baseball onto the show and kind of like pick their brain. But really the whole philosophy around Bros Talk Baseball was just bringing the fun back into the game. So I love to bring back like the camaraderie that I had with teammates on Azusa into a show. And I don't think a lot of people do that these days, like on MLB Network. You know, it's a bunch of talking heads, old guys that think they know what's going on. But like back when I was playing in '87, you know, or I don't know. I wanted to bring that back in a show with my brother because we had some good chemistry. So we did that for a year, and I started the Instagram channel to kind of like coincide with the YouTube show, and the Instagram page actually did really well. We got over 3,000 followers in like 6 months, and I was like, geez, we actually might have something here. But then, unfortunately, once the season ended, my brother moved away. He's not really a film guy or anything, and he lived like an hour away from me. So just trying to get him back to do like a weekly show commitment was just turning into an issue. So I decided, just because I didn't want any confusion to go along with like the image and everything, to just branch off and do my own thing called Baseball Bro. So I'm just one of the Baseball Bros. That's my new Instagram account. Still, it's Bros Talk Baseball. Old Instagram account turned into Baseball Bro. Chase and I still have a podcast, my brother, on another account. It's a baseball like news network account. It's called The Dugout. And it's called Bros Talk Baseball Extra Innings. Just sit in front and talk about trending topics. Pretty much what we did before, except I'm not doing any like fancy video editing stuff like I did in the show last year. And yeah, that's kind of like the evolution of Bros Talk Baseball in a nutshell.
Nice.
Now let's jump into another new endeavor you got here, the Triples Alley that you're doing on YouTube and stuff. Can you let our listeners in a little bit about that? And from what we've seen of it, what you've put out so far, it looks pretty funny. I mean, you brought it up earlier. We're Orioles fans, so we've dealt with some bad years too. So I mean, you want to talk a little bit about that and what you got going on there?
Yes. That's great. Thank you so much for thinking it's funny, because I'm so nervous whenever I put out an episode. I'm like, I really hope this is funny and people think this is good. And pretty much what it is, it's a clip show. And I just one day during the off season was thinking about like what's missing in baseball these days. Like we got if anyone wants to find like analysis on players, they could find it anywhere. If anyone wants to find like predictions on how the season's going to go, they can find that anywhere. If anyone wants to find like MLB stuff, they can find it anywhere. So I was thinking like, well, you're missing kind of like the pop culture, the social, the bro, I guess, for lack of better terms. And so what I did with Triples Alley, it's a little homage to my playing days. I broke the the school record for most triples in a season. So it's kind of like what I love is the Triples Alley, and it's a clip show where I take the most viral, funny clips and I kind of construct a narrative that works around a certain baseball theme around those clips. So my first episode was about the off season and how it was the worst off season on the planet. And pretty much what I did, I mean, you guys should know this. I mean, you're on the East Coast. Like, what's going on with this polar vortex that we've been experiencing?
Right.
It drops below like 30. We see fields freezing over.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Monsoons of rain everywhere. So I thought it'd be funny to construct a show for my premiere episode on what makes everything this off season the worst. Took some funny clips of like crazy stuff happening with the weather. I did this funny little skit where I showed you what it was like to be a Dodger fan in the off season, having to hear all this crap from everybody about the Dodgers just choking every single year. And then
we feel you, man.
Yeah, it was just oh, dude. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, dude. Being Oriole fans, I think that might be worse.
It absolutely is.
It's one thing to get to the dance; it's another to never get there.
Yeah. Well, man, to see your like hope, Manny Machado, get traded away and then sign a 10-year deal with the Padres.
What do you think of that deal?
Like,
think it's good for the Padres?
Well, honestly, it fills a hole that they desperately needed. I think he'll play third base because I don't see any reason why they wouldn't play him at third base. And that makes their offense just incredibly stronger. However, I don't know. It kind of seems like a vacation signing from him. He loves SoCal. Couldn't play for the Dodgers anymore. Angels don't have any room for him. So why don't go south to the Padres and just live his 20s, 30s in beautiful San Diego, Now, the problem I have with that is, like, that's how careers go down the drain.
Yeah.
You can't have your cake and eat it too, I guess. You see it with like Matt Kemp and Justin Upton when they went to San Diego. I mean, I didn't think Manny Machado did spectacular when he was on the Dodgers. He was like having an MVP season on the Orioles and then gets traded to the Dodgers and does like mediocre to above mediocre. And that's LA, that's like another vacation spot. But who knows? I mean, what do you guys think?
For me, my biggest thing was he did not end up in pinstripes with the Yankees. I was thinking that at first when the talk with the thoughts of him going to Philly, I knew that would be a horrible fit. I didn't think for one the fans would accept him with open arms. That's for sure, but. Some reason the Yankees just looked like a good fit for him, especially with his stardom lately and all this talk. That's all I'm worried about is he's not playing for the Yankees. And actually, I thought Chicago would have been a really good fit for him with the White Sox. But I think you're right when it comes to his decision. I think it came down to, all right, well, I like living out here. Let's stay here for a while. What about you, Tyler?
I mean, where would you rather play? Like Chicago, which had the coldest day in human history,
right?
Or California, San Diego, where it doesn't drop below 50.
I was about to say, all you need to do is look back to when Chicago was in the World Series and look at Javi Baez. He looked like an Eskimo playing second base. Why would anybody ever want to do that? I mean,
all he saw was his eyes.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
For me, the problem with the Padres is they still don't have pitching to beat the Dodgers. They might not have enough pitching to beat the Giants, for goodness sake. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. They got a lot of young talent offensively, defensively, but they just don't have the star caliber of pitching to compete at that upper echelon. Not yet, and I don't see it in the future. I mean, if you're not going to go out and pay for a big-time arm, which they've already paid for Hosmer, they got Will Myers on the payroll, and now they just gave Machado this big thing. I mean, I almost find that it's going to be just like the Texas Rangers deal with A-Rod in a way. It's a big contract. It's a big deal. But I think it's probably going to be a short-lived 3-year stint. They'll probably trade him back out somewhere else if I had to guess. Because the Padres just don't seem to have much luck in developing good talent in the long run. I mean, they've always had good stars kind of come and go, but they've never been able to retain them short of, Tony Gwynn back in the day. But, I mean, long term, I just don't see it fitting in. I'll be interested to see where Harper lands. I'm sure, I guess, Philly's probably the number one destination for him. So if he lands in the Giants, that's even a bigger blow to the Padres. So I'm not really sure where they go, honestly, from here, because I'm not sure Hosmer's going to live up to the money he got paid for. As much as I like Hosmer, I think he's a great ball player, a lot of fun. But I just don't know if they're going to live up to the hype of what they're paying out for.
Yeah, I would agree with you there, definitely. But on the other hand, to counteract that, they remind me of a B-plus version of the Colorado Rockies. And they play in a pitcher's park, Yeah. They have the young talent, they have the old talent, they have an MVP type over there at third base. They have the bats, they have the young pitching, the young unproven pitching, the Nelson Lamet, who I think will be really good. And honestly, other than that, I can't really think of anybody, but they did produce a lot of good bullpen arms last year.
Yeah.
In the trade deadline. And then the year before that, they debuted Brad Hand. So they might have some tricks under their sleeve with that bullpen that we just don't know about because that's not really a trending topic in mainstream baseball, That's something that you kind of see mid-season, oh shoot, Padres with their bullpen?
Yeah.
Sick. So, I mean, I still don't think they'll be able to beat the Dodgers for sure, 100%. There's no way that I mean, maybe the Rockies had a really good shot of beating them in that NL West, but with Seager coming back and they got Walker in their second year, and just I don't know, dude. Verdugo might put up a Rookie of the Year kind of campaign this year, and I just don't see anyone dethroning them in the NL West. Their only shot is if they take that NL wild card, but the Rockies are scary. Two legit MVPs that could potentially win it this year in Nolan Arenado and Trevor Story. But, yeah, that's my thoughts.
I'll tell you, it's interesting because you bring up the Dodgers. You're a Dodgers fan. Obviously, the past 2 years have been heartbreak. Real quick, what do you think was their better chance of winning the World Series? Was it 2017 or was it 18?
Oh, 2017.
That's what I
100%.
thought. So
I didn't think they were winning in 2018. I was like, 2017 is the year. It was great too because I was like, oh, this is my road trip year. I get back and I see my Dodgers won the World Series. I was going nuts, man, I was heartbroken in 2017. 2018, I kind of saw it coming, low key. Like, I was like, shoot, we're gonna lose it twice in a row. when they beat the Brewers, I'm like, we got to play the Red Sox, and we just broken the record for most strikeouts in a playoff game or a playoff series. Like, dang it, dude, we're playing ugly right now. So I don't know. I was very upset with last year and how it all played out.
So in saying that, what have they done enough? They bring Kershaw back, and they made a trade with the Reds. Have they done enough now to get over the hump, you think, coming into 2019? And if not, what other pieces do they need to add to the team to get them to where all Dodgers fans want to get back to, obviously?
I think they're in a great place right now. And I'll tell you why. I think it's because there's not going to be any more of that, everyone's, pretty good BS that we were dealing with last year, where what's his name? Dave Roberts had a new lineup every single game. They got rid of Kemp, Puig, and then they lost Machado, but they got Seager to fill in that short. They have a bona fide all-star in AJ Pollock when healthy is a 5-tool threat, and then you got, a mature Cody Bellinger and then Verdugo to fill in that last outfield spot that we need. I don't know. I just think I'm a big believer in giving people consistent at-bats because let your stars shine, 2017, I think that's what they did. They had some necessary platoon options in 2017, but 2018 is like a computer was spitting out lineups and managers were just robots plugging them into the card,
They tried way too hard with the trade for Dozier and Machado, and it just didn't seem – they still had Chase Utley on the right. It just didn't seem to fit what they needed to do to get past, to be the best team in baseball, honestly, last year.
Less is more, man, honestly. Less is more. Trust your guys and their abilities, man. Chris Taylor should have been playing every single game in the World Series. David Freese should have been playing every single game in the World Series. And that's because David Freese was having a great series in the playoffs just in general, and so was Chris Taylor. Why are you sitting hot bats? I swear, I think there was a game where David Freese went 2 for 2 with a home run and a double, and then when they brought in a righty, Dave Roberts was like, all right, take him out,
Here comes Max Muncy.
Come on, dude, bring a Joc or something. You're like, this guy's 2 for 2. Let him hit.
So I want to say this because I think Joc Pederson is probably the most arrogant, overrated baseball player in the game almost. He's in my top 3 because this guy Bellinger has the swag, but he's kind of got, and he only bats about 240 to 255 anyway either. But Pederson, since he came in, had a big rookie season. He really fell off after the home run derby. He's never hit the superstar mantle that he kind of acts and lives in, being an LA boy in a way. I'm an East Coast guy, and this is what I see. He's not that, he doesn't play like Jackie Bradley Jr. He's not that secondhand man. Nah. He's not the good Robin. You know what I mean? If I had to say, he thinks he's the superstar when there's really superstars around him.
Yeah, he really comes up with one big hit every 20 games. And when he hits it, everyone knows because he just makes the biggest deal about it, Yeah. And I love calling him just like the Pillsbury Doughboy because he kind of looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy when he's running around those bases all excited and stuff. But I don't know, man. I'm a Dodger fan, so I gotta love him.
Yeah,
right.
Clutch to play off Joc Pederson is really, really dangerous too. Regular season Joc Pederson is like a 170 hitter, but playoff Joc Pederson, when we're done with this podcast, I want you guys to YouTube and you guys at home too listening to this podcast. YouTube some Joc Pederson playoff highlights, and you will get so pumped up. You're going to have to go to the gym and spend 3 hours just doing chest press. And that's how pumped up you'll get.
That's great.
He is like a little leaguer, though, man. When he's like on the bench, he's the number one cheerleader, though. He gets fired up over everything. I do love that part.
Yeah, that's true, man. He brings a good chemistry to the team.
He does.
Brings some good energy.
That's awesome. Well, just to pivot off of that a little bit. All right, so you have Baseball Bro Talk now. You have Triples Alley. Anything else in the pipeline in the near future that we could look out for?
Well, sky's the limit, man. I'm going to stick with Triples Alley for now. Maybe branch off and do some more like exclusive on people in the community. I mean, if my involvement with professional baseball grows, going to the spring training, I have a couple connections with some big leaguers over there. And if I kind of get more involved in that realm, I'd love to start a YouTube series that kind of dives into each facet of baseball that's intriguing. Like, for instance, you ever wonder how like baseball TV gets broadcasted and stuff? Like what's going on behind the scenes, how everything goes down.
Right.
I'd love to like interview someone who does that, and I have connections in that too because my primary job is working for Foxx Sports, so I know a lot of guys that have done like directed and produced like the World Series, for instance. So like I would love to dive into those things, except the only problem is that like right now this whole venture is kind of like my passion project. It's something that I do from the heart. I'm not doing for funds or anything right now. But if it gets to a point where like people love it and I could find a way to potentially make money off it, I think I would love to spend like all my budget on getting all these top class guys, locking them down and interviewing them and really making something that people would love to watch and something different, just switching up the game a little bit.
If you can, Cam, can you jump in a little bit about the charity softball game that you went to the other week out there for the California Fires and all the stars that were there and how the event was and what you think of it? Yeah, I mean, you had some pretty good access to everything. I mean, tell our listeners a little bit about it for those who couldn't be there.
Sure, definitely. So I was there with the founder of Baseball Lifestyle, Josh, and I know you guys are Baseball Lifestyle as well. I don't know what you'd call that, but you're repping the squad.
That's right.
And I was there with him and Chase Darno, utility player for the Texas Rangers. And man, it was awesome. Just seeing baseball players in their natural element. It's just so cool because like at the end of the day, we see them on TV, we see them in the slow-mo, like, but like the slow-mo mouth movement. And it's just epic. And you're like, dang, these guys are awesome. Oh my gosh. I wonder, in real life, man, they're just like ball players, just like you and me. If we're out there on the field, like, just like your teammates, man, it was fun seeing that side of the big leaguers. And also knowing that with their influence, with their power, with their fame, they're doing something with it that is benefiting the local community and also just like showing love and support to people who lost their homes in the fire. That was dope. Going on to like some more low-key flexing, because I know I've done it like 2 times already in this podcast. I got to meet Adam Sandler, Jamie Foxx, Jimmy Tatro. Dude, it was awesome.
So who was the best?
Straight up.
Who was the best celebrity? Who was the best celebrity baller there?
Shoot. Well, I guess Jimmy Tatro won the MVP, even though he was on the losing team, which is like odd. He thought it was odd. He's like, why did I win this? But yeah, he smacked one in the gap, and I think he got like an inside the park home run out of it because no one knew how to make plays, which is pretty funny. He's just kind of like he went to second, and then the ball kind of went past second, so he like hustled to third, and the ball went past third, and then he was going home like out of breath, head first dive into home plate. It's pretty dope.
How is Jamie Foxx? He seems like a natural athlete.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that guy is. If there's any entertainer, but I always say this to everybody, he is the best entertainer. He got a nice little swing on him. I mean, dude, the guy's got years. You know, he's not young like we kind of imagine him to be.
Right.
So he's a little slower and less nimble than what I would imagine. But he still got him. Man, he was dancing out there behind home plate. He was always witty, quick on his feet. Funny Jamie Foxx story. I was going live on Instagram because I was like, why not? And all the players were coming in, and I was like, "What's up, guys? How you doing?" And they're like, "Who's this? Who you do? Why are you filming me?" But Jamie Foxx, I was like, "Hey, Jamie, how you doing? You gonna go deep today?" He's like, "Yo, I stay deep. Like in my live." I was like, "Dang, man, he just came up with that on the spot. Didn't know who I was. Just hopped in there, man. Just like, I don't know. He's just a natural entertainer. Love the guy.
That's great.
Big Jamie Foxx fan.
How was Baker Mayfield?
Oh yeah, Baker Mayfield was there. He was cool. Just laid back demeanor. You see him on the field just going nuts, like busting out his helmet every time he throws a touchdown pass. But over there at the softball game, just real chill, laid back. Dude's massive. Didn't realize he was that big. Like, just a house, He was getting a lot of crap because he kept fouling balls off in batting practice. Never even he's like, "I thought you were an athlete." But I guess he's big time buddies with Christian Yelich. They're lifting partners. I don't know if you saw the interview, and after one of his NFL games, he capped it off with Christian Yelich for MVP.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty sick.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, you've had guests on your show. You've had connections with people. Who would you recommend that we reach out to for a future episode for a guest? Who would be somebody that we could talk baseball with that you think would add value to these young players and coaches that come on and talk to us, that come on and listen to our show every week?
Yeah. Well, I got one guy. He's one of my friends from this area. His name's Russ, but he runs the Instagram account Glove Love. And the dude, like, lives, breathes, and dies baseball. He's got, like, 10,000 followers, I think. But he started his account on, like, relacing gloves and stuff. And I actually am going to come out with a Triples Alley episode with him featured on it. He kind of walks me through, like, his glove relacing kind of techniques and stuff that he goes through, and his just passion for gloves and everything baseball. And honestly, like, I've been listening to your guys' podcast, and I see you got a lot of softball players, baseball players, life coaches, and everything. But I haven't really picked up any like equipment geeks, Mm-hmm. And I think if you reach out to this guy, you could really add that aspect to it, because a lot of players, they love equipment, and they love having the sickest look, and what's the best glove to buy, and like what's the best bat to buy, and like what should I get if I'm a second baseman, or what's the best thing to like use on my gloves to make it last for eternity. And this guy has all those answers for you. And I don't know. I think it'd be a good interview.
Right on. Hook us up with Russ.
Yeah, I will. I'll hook you up with him. I'll send you his info. Text him about it. We'll get it done.
Right on.
What before we wind down here with the last couple questions, was there any topics or anything you wanted to kind of bring up or talk about that we didn't get into?
How do you guys do it? Remain Oriole fans.
Dude, I was an Orioles fan through it all. I had tickets, like no doubt. I remember taking my son to games when there was literally 5,000 to 10,000 people, and I mean, there's only like 14 at games now, but I mean, there was 5,000 and 6,000 people at a game. We were at and I'll never forget. We went to an Angels game. We were up by I want to say 3 runs. They bring this guy named Kevin Drake in, supposedly supposed to be a closer. As soon as they brought him out, I was like, this game's over. Hits a guy, gives up the single, and a 3-run blast. Game tied, damn, losing in extra innings. It was so I literally took my son to 7 games one season, and they didn't win one. How do you take your son to 7 baseball games and they don't win one? And you're supposed to tell him these are professionals. They're the best at what they do. And he's looking at me. He's 5 years old, and he's like, Dad, really?
Yep. My wife and I have been married for 12 years now, and she has been to probably 10 games in the last 12 years, and she has been to 1 game where they won. So
here's the luck of Cam, here's the luck of an Orioles fan. Me and Dan, we take our wives with us to a game last year against the Angels. We're dying. All we want to do is see Mike Trout, right? That's all we want to do. First inning, we get in, terrible drive down to the city. We get in, we get parked, we get into the stadium. We realize we need cash to buy something. So we stop at the ATM. Mike Trout, second pitch of the game, gone, home run. Damn it, we miss it.
Yeah.
Later in the game, the Orioles intentionally walk him. His third at bat, they hit by pitch, and then he grounds out to shorter. So it was like, are you kidding? We missed the home run. We watched him get intentionally walked and hit by pitch, and that was what we wanted to do was watch Mike Trout. You know what I mean?
And he was batting second that game.
Second. It was like unbelievable.
Dang it, dude.
That's the luck.
You know
of an
what's
Orioles
crazy
fan.
is like he did the only thing. Like, even seeing him hit a home run as an Orioles fan, you're like, shoot, that sucks. But if anyone's going to do it, Mike Trout would.
I was there.
The worst part is you missed it. He still hit a home run against the Orioles, so the Angels would be winning at this point. Yep. And he did nothing else the rest of the game. Man, that's a triple whammy right there.
When he robbed J.J. Hardy of that home run, that one of his first iconic catches, that was a hell of a play. It was like, holy cow.
Wait, dude, were you there?
Yeah, I was there. That's when the Orioles were just turning the corner. It was one of the craziest plays I've ever seen in my life.
That's a legendary play, dude. Oh,
yes.
That's way better than watching the home run, though. That's like that is like if MLB Network had one play to like have be their like logo play, you know, where it's like one slow-mo play and the logo comes on. It'd be that Mike Trout catch.
No, they're so biased. It'd be Mookie Betts running into a fan and robbing Altuve of a home run. It'd be that play because they're biased towards Boston, honestly.
The bias.
But I'll tell you, the course of Orioles history would be much different. Everybody'd be talking less crap if it weren't for Jeffrey Mayer ruining all of our childhood, the last teenage years that we had. That was the turning point of an Orioles franchise, I'm telling you.
Yeah, you think so?
Has to be.
Oh yeah,
has to be.
You can't.
Oh no.
There's not a single Orioles fan that won't bring that up. And
every single one.
Yep.
No matter what happens. From here on out.
It's the curse. It's the curse. But hey, just wind it down. Where can our listeners find you on social media?
Yeah, well, my Instagram account is @BaseballBro, but it's spelled BSBL Bro. Find me there, posting all this baseball content, I guess. And then my YouTube channel is Life of a Baseball Bro. So it's just, I think it's youtube.com/C/Life of a Baseball Bro. And on that YouTube channel, you can find Triples Alley, last year's Bros Talk Baseball episodes, skits, comedy skits that we did during the season, my road trip, all 82 days. I went to all the stadiums, and all sorts of good stuff. But if you can't remember or can't figure out how to find that YouTube channel, if you go to my Instagram page, it should be linked in the description or the bio or whatever up there at the top. So, boom, make it really easy for everyone to find me and what I'm doing.
Awesome. Well, let's wrap it up with this last question here. If you had one at-bat in a Major League Baseball game, what song would you choose for your walk-up song to the plate?
Ooh, see, I have to go with the new banger by J. Cole. It's called Middle Child. It absolutely slaps, and I'm going deep. I think dead center, 450. when it comes up.
450. You ain't messing around.
Staying deep.
Nah, dude. Nah, that's what the song does to you.
Stay deep.
Yeah, just like Jamie. Him and Jamie staying deep.
Staying deep. Yeah, just like that. I'm staying deep.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, man, we appreciate you coming on. It was a long time coming. Very enjoyable episode. We haven't talked about Major League Baseball in a long time. That was fun. And we wish you the best of luck with your channel and with your podcast. And we look forward to what you have coming down the road.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. Hopefully I could have you guys on Triple Valley someday, and it'll be great. I had a great time. So
awesome. Let's do it.
Good luck with the future episodes.
If you get back out here to the East Coast, let us know. When we get to the West Coast, we'll hit you up, man. Appreciate your time.
Definitely. Doors always open. Let me know.
Sweet.
All right. See ya.
Back when the rap game was praying like this, they act like two legends cannot coexist. But I never for nothing. If I smoke a rapper, it's gonna be legit. It won't be for clout. It won't be for fame. It won't be.
Man, that was a fun episode.
Been a while, buddy. Been a while since we got into all that baseball talk. I loved it. It was a lot of fun. Cam's a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he's definitely a character, and looking forward to seeing what else he's got coming down the road, and should be fun. But as always, make sure you find us on all things social media at Going Yard Podcast and on Twitter at GYP Podcast.
At Twitter. Check out our website, goingyardpodcast.com. You can find all of our social media on there, along with all of our podcast episodes as well. Also, like, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review if you can on iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, and Google Play. And we'll keep bringing you the content every Friday and every Tuesday.
That's right. That's a wrap for this baseball episode. So for everyone here at the Going Yard Podcast and for Cam, Bennett, and Triples Alley, I'm Dan.
And I'm Tyler. See ya.
Later.